Welcome to Christy Russ's Blockchain for Beginners series. I am Christy's digital avatar, and I will be your host. Let's dive into this week's episode: how AI and blockchain took decades to become overnight successes. The surprising history behind two of today's most powerful technologies, blockchain and AI. Most people think of blockchain and artificial intelligence, AI, as brand new innovations, but neither of them is new. In fact, both technologies have been decades in the making, evolving behind the scenes through academic research, government programs, and private sector innovation. Understanding where they came from helps us better understand where they're going. It also busts one of the biggest myths. Blockchain and AI are not passing trends. They're foundational technologies quietly transforming the systems we rely on: finance, healthcare, identity, governance, education, and more. A quiet revolution, the origins of AI. The roots of artificial intelligence go back to the 1950s. Alan Turing, the British mathematician known for cracking Nazi codes during World War II, famously asked the question, "Can machines think?" In 1950, he developed what's now known as the Turing test, a way to evaluate whether a machine's behavior is indistinguishable from a human's. The term artificial intelligence was coined in 1956 at the Dartmouth Conference, organized by computer scientist John McCarthy. This event brought together some of the biggest minds of the time from Harvard, MIT, IBM, and Bell Labs. The U.S. government funded much of this early research, seeing AI as a national defense asset during the Cold War. Over the decades, AI evolved through cycles of enthusiasm and setbacks known as AI winters, periods where funding dried up due to slow progress. But behind the scenes, core foundations were being laid. DARPA and U.S. government involvement. Few institutions have shaped AI like DARPA, the U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Created in 1958 in response to the Soviet Union's launch of Sputnik, DARPA has been behind some of the most important digital innovations in history, including the Internet, ARPANET, GPS, speech recognition, machine learning, and autonomous systems. In the 1970s and 80s, DARPA funded expert systems, early AI tools that mimicked human decision making for military and scientific applications. These systems were used in projects like MyCin, developed at Stanford to diagnose bacterial infections, and XCON, used by Digital Equipment Corporation to configure complex computer systems. Though limited, these systems demonstrated AI's ability to support decisions in real world scenarios, from medical treatment to logistics planning. By the 2000s, DARPA supported breakthroughs in natural language processing, robotics, and neural networks, paving the way for autonomous vehicles and systems like Siri and ChatGPT. DARPA's Urban Challenge in 2007 pushed the development of self-driving cars, a foundation for today's autonomous vehicle industry. Universities and tech giants pioneering AI's future, alongside government efforts. Universities like MIT, Stanford, Carnegie Mellon, and Oxford have been leading AI research since the beginning. MIT's AI Lab, founded in 1959, and Stanford's AI Lab, SAIL, produced generations of talent and technology that seeded today's biggest tech companies. By the 2010s, with the rise of big data and cloud computing, AI exploded. Companies like Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and Amazon began integrating AI into their core products: search engines, recommendation systems, voice assistants, and more. Today, AI powers everything from fraud detection to medical diagnostics to writing assistants, and it's only accelerating. The origin of blockchain: more than just Bitcoin. While AI began with mathematical theory and government backed research, blockchain started as a decentralized solution to a very different problem: a way to exchange value or verify information without middlemen. The foundational concept of blockchain dates back to 1991, when Stuart Haber and W. Scott Stornetta introduced a method for time stamping digital documents in a way that could not be altered. In 1992, they added Merkle trees to improve the efficiency of the system and allow several documents to be collected into one block. Their work laid the groundwork for what would later evolve into blockchain technology. Between 1991 and 2008, interest in secure, tamper proof digital ledgers grew steadily, especially in academic and cryptographic circles. In 1998, Wei Dai introduced the concept of B-money. In 2004, Hal Finney, who would later receive the first ever Bitcoin transaction, developed reusable proof of work, a key precursor to blockchain's consensus mechanisms, a system to prevent double spending in digital currency. These developments influenced what would become Bitcoin. But one of the most overlooked contributions came from the NSA, and blockchain-like concepts. In 1996, the National Security Agency, NSA, published a research paper titled How to Make a Mint: The Cryptography of Anonymous Electronic Cash. It proposed one of the earliest documented systems resembling blockchain. Double spending prevention, decentralized and anonymous, yet verifiable transactions, public and private key cryptography, digital cash systems without a central issuer. This was 13 years before Bitcoin, and many consider it a blueprint for the cryptographic structure used in blockchain today. The document was declassified and distributed by the NSA's Office of Information Security Research and Technology. Though the authorship was attributed to Tatsuaki Okamoto, David Chaum, and others, its ideas would echo in Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper more than a decade later. In 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto published the Bitcoin white paper, combining these ideas into a peer-to-peer currency built on a blockchain. By 2009, the first Bitcoin was mined and history was made. Fun fact, Satoshi Nakamoto referenced Wei Dai's B-money in the original Bitcoin white paper published in 2008. Government and enterprise involvement in blockchain. At first, blockchain was dismissed as fringe tech, but governments and corporations quickly saw its potential, not just for currency, but for identity management, supply chain transparency, secure data exchange, and smart contracts. Here's how that unfolded. Hatcher 2014 to 2016. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Food and Drug Administration, FDA, and Department of Defense began exploring blockchain to secure data, improve logistics, and enhance cybersecurity for national infrastructure. DHS awarded grants to startups like Factum to test blockchain's use in border security and digital identity. IBM, Walmart, and Maersk began piloting blockchain solutions for supply chains around 2016. IBM's Food Trust platform, for example, was used by Walmart to trace leafy greens in seconds, a task that once took days. Maersk used blockchain to digitize shipping documentation, reducing fraud and accelerating global trade. Around the same time, JP Morgan Chase launched Quorum, an enterprise-focused blockchain platform that built on Ethereum's technology to serve financial institutions with faster, private, and permissioned transactions. Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal began experimenting with blockchain for cross-border payments and stablecoin settlements. Visa introduced its B2B Connect platform in 2019 to simplify international business payments using distributed ledger technology. The World Economic Forum, WEF, through its Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, initiated programs using blockchain for humanitarian aid delivery, digital identity verification for displaced persons, and climate accountability tracking, aiming to make aid more transparent and efficient. A global effort. While the U.S. played a dominant early role, it's important to recognize the global nature of these technologies. Canada led AI breakthroughs through researchers like Geoffrey Hinton, who helped advance deep learning and neural networks. China has invested heavily in AI for surveillance, smart cities, and its digital yuan, while also becoming a leader in blockchain patents. the European Union established the European Blockchain Services Infrastructure, EBSI, to support cross border public services and is leading in AI regulation for ethical use. India uses blockchain in public welfare and land records and is rapidly scaling its AI infrastructure across education and healthcare. Switzerland, home to the Crypto Valley, has become a major blockchain hub for innovation and regulation. Why this matters now, both AI and blockchain are exploding into the mainstream at the same time, not by coincidence, but because the world has caught up to the technology. They solve different problems. AI helps us process massive amounts of data, simulate human behavior, and automate complex decisions. Blockchain gives us a way to securely record, verify, and share that data without needing to trust a centralized authority. Together, they are reshaping how we work, live, govern, and grow. The future, AI and blockchain are converging. We're now entering a phase where AI and blockchain no longer operate in separate lanes. They work together. AI can analyze blockchain data for fraud detection, pattern recognition, and predictive analytics. Blockchain adds transparency and integrity to AI processes, ensuring model training is ethical and results are verifiable. This convergence is already powering next-gen platforms like Center for Creators, where AI plus blockchain enable personalized self-growth, tokenized engagement, and digital ownership. Final thought, they're not the future, they're the foundation. If there's one thing to take away, it's this. Blockchain and AI aren't speculative trends. They're not emerging, they've emerged. Their histories are rich, their development spans generations, and their future will shape everything from the way we govern, educate, and grow businesses to how we connect, earn, and evolve as individuals. This is not just a tech shift, it's a transformation of the systems that shape our lives. And now that you know where it started, you're better prepared to be part of where it's going.